Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel, Life Legacy Foundation Incorporated. Thank you to those who have already liked, shared, and subscribed. And for those who are going to, please do so today if you would please. This video today is going to be about tips, tools, and resources that are available to you to assist you with your loved one who is on this mental health journey. These are things that I did not know or was not aware of at the time, and that I learned through trial and error. And yes, although our journey began in Missouri, a lot of these resources are nationwide. So I'm going to share those with you today. I do have a cheat sheet in front of me just so I can remember everything that I wanted to say today. The first being is that if you know that your loved one is in a mental health crisis, one of the first things that you want to do is call 911. When you call 911, you want to make sure that you ask for a CIT team. That C is in Charlie, I is in ice, T is in team. That stands for critical intervention team. And they'll know that, or crisis intervention team. And so that way the police know that this is a mental health crisis, and so they won't come out guns blazing. And that's one thing that I did not know, that I learned through this process early on with my son. The other thing is, some states have what's called, especially California, PERT, PERT. That is the Psychiatric Emergency Response Team, who will come out on the spot along with law enforcement and do an on-site evaluation of the person who is experiencing mental health crisis. Now, for the most part, a lot of states have a designated CIT team. These are still law enforcement officers, but they are trained specifically to know how to respond to mental health crisis. And so that way, when they come out, they won't have their guns drawn or anything like that. They are able to talk their way through the situation. The other thing that I learned along my journey is that when your child goes missing, whether it is an adult or someone who is underage, usually the wait time is at least 48 hours. I know in my particular situation, I had just received we had just found out about his mental health diagnosis. So that's when things kind of all hit the fan. So a lot of times law enforcement are hesitant to file a police report or to make a missing persons report if the person is an adult. Because as I stated in the first video, I was told that my child was an adult, in which he was over the age of 18, and that he was allowed to disappear. No parent wants to hear that, especially if they're in a mental health crisis. And so the thing that I would encourage as a parent or as a caregiver of someone who has a mental health history, to please be persistent. Whatever you do, be persistent. And that's what got results for me. A lot of times I've heard through experience from other mothers and other caregivers and family members that law enforcement in their state or in their county did very little to assist them in their process. It can be very frustrating. I'm here to tell you it's going to be a frustrating process. However, there are advocates out there, such as myself. There are advocates such as NCMEC. If your child is anywhere from 0 to age 22, NCMEC stands for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They are an awesome resource for children, infants, and young adults until age 22. If they go missing, what you have to do first is file a police report with your local police department. Once you have that report filed, you want to contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and I will have their information come up on the screen. Once you do that, they will assign you a case manager. through NCMEC. That's the acronym that we use, NCMEC. Once you have a case manager assigned through NCMEC, they'll ask you a series of questions. They, being NCMEC, will follow up with the local police department, and they will verify that that person is indeed missing. Once that's verified, that case manager will follow up with the person who filed the report and will then proceed to give you the next steps. Now, for me, in my situation with my son, I knew the very first time that he went missing that it was likely he was going to be in a state where marijuana was legal. At that time, Missouri did not have legalized marijuana laws. So I knew that he would go also to a climate that was warmer. So I knew it would be possibly Colorado because of the marijuana, or in a warmer state, it would have been Arizona or California. And so you want to be very specific on details, even things that don't seem like they would be needed or necessary. Every bit of information counts. The other resource that you can reach out to as well is NAMUS or NAMUS. People pronounce it different ways. It's NAMUS, and that stands for the National Missing and Unidentified Persons. I will list their website as well. So on NAMUS or NAMUS, however you choose to pronounce it, they will also, they have it online. You can actually go on their website and fill out the information, but you must have the police report number when you fill out the information online. Also, it's going to ask you to upload pictures of your missing loved one as well. So make sure you have some photos available. It's going to ask you all of the identifying markers of your missing loved one, like the height, the name. It's going to ask like just detailed information, like where they were last seen, what date they were last seen, what were they wearing, just your standard markers for those persons who go missing. Also, Black and Missing, they focus on, of course, Black people, but it is a good resource because they do a lot for the African American community. Also, what I learned is a Texas EquuSearch. They are a nonprofit as well. And so even though they're housed out of Texas, they will help people across the country. And so the thing with Texas EquuSearch, they usually don't go out to look for a person unless there are suspicious circumstances surrounding their disappearance. But if you feel like you want to get in touch with them, their services are free. So again, that's Texas EquuSearch, and it doesn't matter what state you're in, they are willing to assist other people in other states. And of course, we want to remember AMMIA, AMMIA, and that is Advocates for Missing Mentally Ill Adults, and that falls under the Life Legacy Foundation Incorporated umbrella. And I will list that information for you as well. So those are some tools that you can use, some resources that you can use on your journey to find your missing loved one. The other thing I want you to take note of is that when your loved one goes missing, or before they go missing and they're acting out, like continually acting out, you want to always call the police every single time. Documentation, documentation, documentation is key. And I had to learn that the hard way, because before, when the police were being called, I didn't have any legal rights to my son because he was an adult. So everyone kept saying guardianship. Do you have guardianship? Do you have guardianship? I had no clue what guardianship was until it was explained to me. And so, with that being said, whenever your loved one acts out, always call the police. If it's a situation where the police, CIT team, PERT team are willing to take them into a hospital emergency room, allow them to do that. That is the safest place for them to be. They should not take your loved one to jail. They should take them to an emergency room. A good officer, especially a CIT officer, should ask you if taking that person to the emergency room is what you want to do. You want to say yes. And here's why. You want to have a history of that person going to the emergency room and being evaluated because of their psychotic behavior. I say that because in the event you decide that you want to pursue legal guardianship and or conservatorship for your loved one, that is going to be necessary. The courts want to see that there is a paper trail that is leading up to why you feel like it is necessary for you to have that legal guardianship or conservatorship. And in a lot of cases, or at least in my case, when I had my son on a hold, and then it progressed past the hold to the point where we had to go before the judge. One of the things that were presented in court was his history and of behavior that he had and the run-ins that he had with the police. So you may be called to testify and this, that, and the third. So every single time, document. Every time they voluntarily go into a psych facility, see if you will, if the mental health patient will allow you to be the person that the doctors will release their medical records to. So if anything goes on, then you are in the know of what their diagnosis is, what medications they're on, and the doctor is allowed to speak to you on that person's behalf in the event they are unable to speak for themselves. And I know that it's a lot of information, but it's necessary. And these are things that I wish I knew when I first started my journey with my son in his mental health crisis situation. Also, I wanted to say that if you do decide to seek guardianship and conservatorship in your state, to please study the laws. Please make sure that you get an attorney that deals with guardianship and or conservatorship directly with your state. You want to make sure that you have that knowledge and that they are knowledgeable, so when they go to court on your behalf, that they are well equipped to argue for you. So that's pretty much all that I have today. Again, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, please leave those in the comments. I will get back to those as soon as I possibly can. Also, don't forget to please like, share, and subscribe to our channel if you have not already. Again, thank you for all of your love and your support to Life Legacy Foundation, and I will make sure that I have all of the links to the resources in our bio. Thank you. Until next time, we love you to life.